Among the miraculous advancements allowed by Groznyim are the existence of something called Class 3 robots. And basically what that means is every wealthy person in society, every person of means, has a beloved companion robot who belongs to them and them only, who is part best friend, part wise counselor, part luggage carrier, whatever you need from another, from anyone, your beloved companion robot does for you. The title character of the book, Android Karenina, is an example. She is Anna Karenina's beloved companion robot. Now the other lead character in Anna Karenina is Levin, Konstantin Levin, and his beloved companion is named Socrates, and he plays an important part in the scene I'm going to read to you first. Because as Elif knows, in Tolstoy, characters talk to themselves a lot. There'll be pages and pages and pages where a character is just thinking something over and discussing it and going back and forth. So I decided I needed some robotic conceit where you could have two characters having that conversation instead of one. And that's where I got the idea for these beloved companion robots. Anyway, in this scene, Levin is about to see, for the first time in a long time, a young woman named Kitty Sherbatsky, who he is super, super in love with and has been for years. And he has come to Moscow to tell her how much he loves her. At 4 o'clock, conscious of his heart hammering, like a maltuned Class 1 sleepwaker, Levin stepped out of a hired sledge at the skating park and turned along the path to the frozen mounds and the skate maze, knowing that he would certainly find her there, as he had seen the Sherbatskys' carriage at the entrance. It was a bright, frosty day. Rows of carriages, sledges, drivers, and policemen, not 77s, just workaday Moscow 2/policemen/12s in their cheerful bronze weather coating, were in the approach. Crowds of well-dressed people, with hats bright in the sun, swarmed about the entrance and along the well-swept little paths between the little houses adorned with carving in the Russian style. The old curly birches of the gardens, all their twigs laden with snow, looked as though freshly decked in sacred vestments. Levin walked along the path towards the skate maze, while angular Socrates, programmed to dampen his master's anxiety when it grew too frenzied, droned in his ear, "You mustn't be excited, you must be calm, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet." But the more Levin tried to heed this warning and keep himself composed, the more breathless he found himself. An acquaintance met him and called him by his name, but Levin did not even recognize him. He went toward the elaborate, interlacing paths of magnetized track that made up the skate maze, heard the familiar electric purr of skates gliding above its surface, and the sounds of merry voices. He walked on a few steps, and the skating ground lay open before his eyes, and at once, amidst all the skaters, he knew her. He knew she was there by the rapture and the terror that seized on his heart. She was talking to a woman at the opposite end of the ground, both ladies hovering just above track level, their skates set on neutral as they conversed. There was apparently nothing striking, either in Kitty's dress or in her attitude, but for Levin, she was as easy to find in that crowd as a rose among nettles. Everything was made bright by her. She was the smile that shed light on all around her. In that moment, it was to Levin like she was the eye in the tower, keeping loving watch over all Moscow. "Be quiet, be calm, be quiet, calm, quiet, calm," Socrates repeated over and over in his ear. "Is it possible I can go over there on the tracks, go up to her?" he murmured. The place where she stood seemed to him a holy shrine, unapproachable, as if encircled by a moat of radiant liquid Groznyim. And there was one moment when he was almost retreating, so overwhelmed was he with terror. With Socrates' help, he made an effort to master himself. People of all sorts were moving about her. He too was permitted to come there to skate. He walked down, for a long while avoiding looking at her as at the sun, but seeing her as one does the sun without looking. On that day of the week, and at that time of day, people of one set, all acquainted with one another, used to meet on the skate maze. In skates with razor-thin, magnetized blades, revelers navigated the miles of interweaving tracks, the positive charge of the maze surface gently repelling the positive charge of the skates, so everyone glided along, elevated precisely 1/4 inch above the track. There were crack skaters there, showing off their skill. Happily they whooshed forward, weaving their way across the metal maze, greeting each other gaily, leaping up with bold tricks, skating forward, and, when the track vectors were reversed by the 2/Skatemaster/490, skating backward. There were 2 learners clinging to chairs with timid, awkward movements, and elderly noblewomen skating slowly, leaning for support on their class 3s. All seemed to leaven an elect band of blissful beings, because they were here, near her. All the skaters, it seemed, with perfect self-possession, skated toward her, skated by her, even spoke to her, and were happy, quite apart from her, enjoying the capital ice and the fine weather. She was in a corner, and turning out her slender feet in their high boots with obvious timidity, she skated toward him. Be calm, 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 urged Socrates.